Humanity has fallen so low that the most important Lord of the Rings news of the month is a rapper buying a trading card. Wes, hi everybody, and welcome to another video. And it once again shows how crazy and tarded, if you excuse me, the world has become. Now, please do look at the screen. And it's not just this case. So apparently, a Post Malone guy, now I had to Google who that guy was, and apparently he is a rapper, bought the one Magic the Gathering card, the Lord of the Rings, the One Ring card for $2 million. And this, apparently, is the biggest news of the month concerning the Lord of the Rings. Now, please do watch my previous video. I had much bigger Lord of the Rings news for you. Apparently, there was a fish named after Frodo Baggins. Much, much bigger news. But just focus on that alone. It is not newsworthy. I wouldn't have made a video about that if it didn't make me think again about what I have been talking about for the last couple of months on this channel, and maybe even a year, and then of course on my previous channel as well. And that is that the news that we are reading about are absolutely laughable, and people who are today, in this day and age, supposed to be the celebrities or the important, quote-unquote, the important newsworthy people that have got some certain voice in the world and that people listen to and that people praise in some cases is shocking. Now, it's really... not even 100 years ago, they would be considered to be the lowlifes, the lower caste of society. If you hear some knocking, it's the rain on the window. It's a beautiful weather today, very rainy, very grim and very bleak and very dark, just perfect for a long walk in the rain in the afternoon. But coming back to the topic at hand, now a lot of people throughout the existence of this channel have written in my comments, you don't know what Tolkien would have said or would have liked, for example, in connection with the show over at Prime Video, The Rings of Power, that I like to refer to as The Rings of Prime, and where saying that the creators have taken creative liberties is understatement. We know that this show was just made as a money laundering scheme that has got nothing to do with anything that the professor wrote, and that Jeffy Bezos wanted to have his own Game of Thrones, and that is why he acquired the rights to adapt. Nobody really knows what at this point, if it's The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, or just the couple of chapters in the end of The Lord of the Rings, which, compose the appendices to the book, and that he just wanted to make a shit ton of money just making a fantasy TV show that would have the name The Lord of the Rings attached to it. The result was a very bad show on its own. The result was something that is laughable, something that people have been making fun of for months now. This has been making the biggest news. And people are saying like, well, but Tolkien said, I want to allow other minds and hands. Yeah. That's just what people do. They are taking a paragraph or a set. It's really, really raining. It's people are taking a paragraph here and there, or a sentence taken out of context from one of Tolkien's letters, or his essays, or his lectures, and then using it as proper arguments, or a sentence taken out of context from one of the books, like when Galadriel was, and I'm paraphrasing, of an Amazonian nature and build. And that's how they are defending the abhorrent version of Galadriel in The Rings of Power. And so, let me assure you that you can be 100% sure that Tolkien or his son Christopher wouldn't be excited about anything that is done to the Arda stories, to the Lord of the Rings, or around them in this day and age. Whether we are talking about the Rings of Power, whether we are talking about the Magic of the Gathering, where they race-swapped absolutely everybody. And I have made a video about both of those things, so please go ahead and check them out. If we are talking about the Gollum video game, which apparently, I haven't played it, apparently is one of the worst games of the last decade, to that extent that the creators of the game had to apologize to the fans for how bad that game was. Or whether we are talking about who is actually making the news today, which is, well, whom? Morfydd Clark telling fans to F off, or Ismael Cruz Cordova saying, I have been oppressed, I didn't vote for you. Little Monty Python reference. Or whether we are talking about rappers buying cars for $2 million, supporting a laughable company that's there for, just like ripping people off money. Now, I have heard that the Magic of Gathering, they used to be like big, they used to be an admirable company making apparently a good trading card game. I don't know, I have never played it, nor do I have any intentions to play it. But it's just people are focusing on this. And it's not just The Lord of the Rings, it's not just Tolkien, it's everything about pop culture today. So the other day, I don't watch influencers at all, but there's one YouTuber on YouTube called Thinking Critical, and I kind of like him because he actually reviews comic books. He doesn't only talk about drama on the internet and that Lizzo is abusing bananas or whatever, but he actually takes new comics and reviews them honestly and says whether they are good or not. And that I appreciate, because nobody does that today. Nobody actually reviews good things or bad things, like actually into depth. Nobody is bringing you good news. Or, even better, nobody is really just, maybe revisiting older things that we know are good and re-reviewing them and recommending them to new fans. Because that's what I am trying to do on my channel. I'm going back, I'm rewatching and rereading all the things that I know are good, and I'm making videos about them, recommending them to people who might have not seen them or watched them or read them in the past, so that maybe potentially I might bring new fans into the fandom. So I'm trying to bring a little bit of positivity into the world through stories, the actual stories that we love and that we, grew up on. And so 99.9% of all the influencers, and it is relevant to this video, because influencers are today celebrities, in many cases much bigger than actors or rappers or singers. And if those influencers are only focusing on bullshit topics like, well, back to the point. Thinking Critical. I was watching 5 minutes of his live stream while I was having dinner. And all that happened during those 5 minutes of this live stream was that people were super chatting what other YouTubers said. So, for example, Nerdrotic said that this person in this company in Disney said that. Who cares about that? This has become a strange, twisted trend. Like, I have got inside knowledge from Disney that Kathleen Kennedy is leaving. Who the hell cares about this, man? This is like the last thing in the universe I care about. So, yeah, nobody cares about a rapper really buying a trading card game. And why am I making a video about that? I'm making a video about that to prove a point again, that I've been correct, that the world has become a topsy-turvy circus full of freaks that don't really care about good stories anymore. And 99.9% of influencers do not care about those stories either. They may have cared about them in the past, but gradually they have been made into businessmen who only make videos for the revenue. They don't really care what happens to your favorite beloved stories. They don't give a flying toss. They just want your clicks and likes. They just want your cheers. They just want your super chats. And I sincerely hope from the depths of my heart that you're not a bunch of nitwits who fall for it. Alright then, let me know in the comments down below what you think, and that'll be all. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm out of here.